right, so TV, TNA Impact results. This is from Darren Lilly, PW Torch. So I just want to give him a shout out. We start off with Mike Santana and Leon Slater versus Nick and Ryan Nemeth. Almost a rematch from No Surrender. No Surrender had two good matches, and that was one of them, but it was Santana and Slater versus Nick and Eddie Edwards, where Santana ended up bailing on Slater, and Slater was able to overcome both guys, and he pinned Nick Nemeth. But now he got pinned by Nick Nemeth on this one because Frankie Kazarian sat in on commentary. And then Eric Young distracted Slater towards the end there and leading. So Slater was on the ropes and he's getting ready to do a Swanton 450. The guy that I got the commentary from is not very in depth, but he's on the ropes doing this, getting ready to do a Swanton 450. And Eric Young comes out, gets and Slater got distracted. And then Mike Santana goes to get Eric Young out of there. But Leon Slater taking too much time on the top rope. He goes to do this one-time 450. And Nemeth gets his knees up and then does the roll-up, the dreaded roll-up, and got the pin on Slater. Looks like we're going to set up a match between Eric Young and Leon Slater. I want to open up the possibility that Nick Nemeth cashes in his briefcase or his trophy on Slater instead of Mike Santana. I think that's a possibility. And it's the one possibility that no one's really talking about yet, but this seems like they're in a little bit of a feud and they both have a pin on each other. That could be a way to keep the feud going and do something different. It wouldn't be the first time that somebody cashed in the trophy for a title other than the world title. Jordan Grace, obviously, famously did the Knockouts title, and I believe, didn't Violent by Design cash it in for the tag titles? I think was it them? Can somebody correct me on that one? Was it Violent by Design that cashed in on the tag titles? I can't remember, but I think there was a cash in for the tag titles, and so this would be, I think, the first time for the X Division title, and I think that'd be something different. That'd be nice. Next up, we got Lei Ying Lee versus Danny Luna. So the former Knockouts champion Lei Ying Lee, and then Danny Luna making her AMC debut. They made sure to hit that point. I liked this match. Unfortunately, I think the crowd was quiet the whole time. They had a couple of chants, but I don't know when they taped it, but it seemed like the crowd was just exhausted or they just weren't into the match. But that kind of drugged the match. That's the match drug a little bit, but the action was good, if that makes sense. I just felt like the fans were not into it. And if the fans are not into it, I don't think you can call it a really good match, but I liked what they did. Just there was no energy from the audience. And so, and there's a lot of silent parts. And I'm not usually an advocate of fake crowd noise, but this show is taped. You could juice that. It's just a lot of dead, like there's a lot of silence during the match. So, and it was noticeable. And there were a lot of empty chairs. So that was also noticeable. So I got to clean that up. But so that might have been like towards the end of the night or something like that. But Danny, she threw Lee into the turnbuckle. So Danny Luna had a chain wrapped on the top turnbuckle, and she kicked Lei Ying Lee into the middle turnbuckle. She grazed the chain that was dangling, and I don't think they should have made the point that she cheated to win, right? Because it just didn't look like it worked. But Danny Luna hit the Luna landing and got the pin. She hit a really nice German suplex right before that, and then hit the Luna landing. A good hard-hitting match, good action. Again, crowd just wasn't into it, unfortunately. So, but I like Danny Luna winning here, and I hope that they put the title on her. She's got something. She's the best as far as like in the ring wrestler. She's the best in the division right now. So let's do it. Oh, hold on, we got a chat here. So Nicholas says, I don't think he cashed it in, but TNA did announce Slater versus Nemeth for the X Division title for the live Impact next week. Okay. Well, then I guess he doesn't need to cash it in. Okay, well, never mind. There goes that idea. Excuse me, hold on, a swig of water. All right, and then we go to the backstage, and Alicia Edwards is with Tommy Dreamer and Carlos Silva, and Alicia is so much better as a heel. Her acting was so bad here. The dialogue was terrible. She's not like this. Not it's not a good role for her. Sympathetic babyface. Like she's, I I know for a fact she's a sweet person in real life. So I'm not trying to knock her and say that she doesn't come across as sympathetic. Just the acting chops aren't there. She is better. Like she seems more natural when she's being a jerk, even though in real life she's not a jerk, but she just has the chops to be a jerk. Like she really came alive as a heel. Okay. But here she is, and you can tell she's not into what she's saying. The dialogue recital is so poor. The segment was death. It went on way too long, but she says she's got a contract in her hand, but she feels lost. She declined the contract. Moose entered and said, "Why don't you just be my manager?" She goes, "Okay. Well, you want to know something? I'll be your manager," and signs the contract. I'm just like, what? What just happened? Why would she do that? She didn't even clear with her husband. She's gonna go manage another dude. That's weird. So the whole thing stinks. I don't like it, and I don't want another Alicia Eddie Edwards like controversy. I don't need it. I get the feeling Eddie and Moose are gonna wrestle probably at Sacrifice, and maybe they'll hold it off till Rebellion because Eddie does have his title shot. So I don't know when he's gonna get his title shot, but at some point, Eddie and Moose are gonna wrestle, and she's gonna turn on Moose. It's like we know it's happening, but do we care? I don't think we do. She needs to be a heel already. She's good at it, right? But they got to get to that point. They got to tell the stories, and I understand we got to tell more stories. That's what this company is. But come on, tell good ones. Okay, Mance Warner versus AJ Francis. I thought this was a good brawl. But it was a quick DQ. Not quick. It was like 5 minutes. I think. Oh yeah, 5 minutes. The guy's got the time. 5 minutes. So I thought they were having a pretty good match, and then AJ Francis brought a chair in the ring. Steph took it away, tossed it to Warner, and then Mance Warner hit AJ with the chair. Referee called for the bell appropriately. And then he kept hitting AJ with the chair in the back and then hit him in the face with it, knocked him out of the ring. It looks like we're going to get a street fight at some point. So whether it be Atlanta, probably like an Atlanta street fight with like Raven on commentaries, or maybe they'll do a Monsters Ball. That'd be fun. But they have to do a street fight every taping set. They got to do something every taping set. Got to do this the garbage match. Love it. Okay. But Mance is a full blown babyface. He turned babyface against Mike Jackson. One thing I didn't like about No Surrender was the Mike Jackson thing. And I like seeing Mike Jackson come out. He should have been in the ring with Ryan Nemeth. Right? But they did this whole thing with Alan Angels before the show, and it was like a whole bullshit thing. But if you can do Action Mike Jackson, 80-year-old man doing moves, you got to do a comedy character. Mance Warner's not a comedy guy. He's a serious guy. Now, I know he's a big WCW fan, so it probably meant a lot to him to be able to do that with Mike Jackson. But you got to protect him. He could be a serious player for the company. You can't have him in there with an 80-year-old dude selling and barely getting the victory. And now you're putting him there with fucking AJ Francis, and he's looking like a badass against AJ Francis. But we just saw you, dude, barely beat up an 80-year-old man with his old skin and his loose balls. Like you could barely beat him up. And now we got to believe that you're going to beat up AJ Francis. Fucking Booker's got to get their stuff together. You got to protect these guys. Don't let them do this shit. Okay. Injury report. Ali, Jody Threat, and Leon Slater. So there you go. Then Mickie James comes to the ring and she cuts a promo. She addressed Ash by Elegance, called her out to talk. But the concierge comes out and Mickie said that no one was talking to him and said, get his toupee and get out of there, which I confronted him on. He said he does not have a toupee. But I said, if you do have a toupee, it looks great. And could you bring me an extra? Could you bring me an extra? And to which you said yes. Or you give me a winky face. So if I go to Atlanta and all of a sudden I have a toupee, just know it was because George Iceman hooked the brother up. But so Ash got in the ring and told Mickie she was washed up. Mickie said she thought Ash was her friend. She talked about Ash calling her after she got released. She said it was her that called Tommy Dreamer to give Ash a chance, but Ash said that TNA was already scouting her. Mickie called Ash a mark. And Ash said, and then that got a lot of chance. Ash says she's training every single week, and then Mickie, or she called her Mark by Elegance. It's pretty funny. which they should have a character named Mark by Elegance. And well, that's BQ's name actually. Mickie said that Ash turned her back on the fans, and they continue to go back and forth. They went face to face, exchange slaps. And then all of a sudden, the Elegance brand shone on the screen, and they're intimidating Mickey's son in the back. Mickey's son was like surrounded by chicks, like he was loving life. That dude, little homie, was enjoying his night. And then Mickie ran to the back, but got attacked by Elegance, and the Elegance brand beat Mickie up. And Ash gave Mickie a DDT on the stage, and the fans chanted "Mark," so using slurs at Ash. Harley Hudson and Molly Grace summoned Santino in the back in the locker room to look at Jody Threat, who had been attacked. Daria Ray pulled Santino out of the room to yell at him for all the chaos. She told him to get it together. Daria Ray continues to be a babyface because Santino does not have good management skills. And then we go to another. I thought this match was pretty good, actually. Jada Stone versus Tasha Steelz. It's been a while since we've seen Tasha wrestle a full match. But this Jada Stone kid, she's got something, man. It was 6 minutes, but they did some cool stuff. They kicked out of some stuff. They did some flying moves. That was cool. I think that like Jada Stone, like in the ring, is pretty good, actually. I think they got something with this Jada. Good for her. She's working hard. She's got some areas she needs to work on, but as far as like what she's doing in the ring, like, and Tasha Steelz she's a vet. She's been around a long time. She's selling her ass off for Jada. So you can tell they really like Jada. So that's good. We need more stars. We need more stars that aren't, feds, fed heads for sure. But, so they exchanged some pin attempts, a bunch of 1 counts, and Steelz gave Stone a German suplex. Stone blocked a cutter and rolled, up Steelz for the pin. So there you go. It was actually like a crucifix roll up. So it wasn't like the dreaded roll up. So Steelz is going for a diamond cutter, and on the way down, Jada Stone got her hands up and kind of got into like a push-up position or handspring position, and then immediately rolled up into a crucifix pin and got the victory. So I thought that was good. But then the great hands get involved afterwards. They throw Stone back in. Steelz gave Stone a cutter and continued beating on her. Steelz and the great hands stood triumphantly. So there you go. And then Tom Hannifan was in the ring to interview Steve Maclin, and who asked for an opportunity to tell his side of the story about why he attacked Mike Santana, even though he no longer works in TNA after selecting the fired briefcase. So they brought out Steve, and I liked the fact that they didn't play Steve's music. They wanted to, right? Like, you had to know. Like, I was like, if they fucking bring Steve out and they play his music, like, the whole deal is done. Thankfully, they didn't do that. He was escorted by security, so that was good. That was a good touch. Hannifan talked about sticking his neck out to get his friend interview time. He wants to explain his actions. Maclin began to speak, and fans chanted, "We don't care." Maclin called Santana selfish. Like, these fans, at a certain point, they were helping the segment, like harassing Steve. But then it got to a point where they're just getting themselves over. Like, it became like too much after a while, where they were like, wrap it up, and like, liar, and then all of a sudden they started chanting USA. You can tell they were having fun. They were into it. But then after a while, it became less about the segment and more about getting themselves over. So then they became a distraction to the segment. This segment probably would have been better off, kind of like the Jim Ross and Mick Foley segment from 1997. Every booker should watch 97 Raw and 97 Nitro and watch it over and over again, because WCW and WWF were on fire, and everything they did was goddamn near perfect, except for Gold Dust in December. Don't watch that part, but a lot of the storytelling and the character arcs and a lot of stuff they were doing in 97 was perfect. And I think that's what they were trying to kind of accomplish here with, Hannifan, because in the Jim Ross and Mick Foley interview, it was Jim Ross that it was revealed that it was Jim Ross that got Mick Foley's job, basically. And here it was Maclin who got Hannifan his job. So they're friends. That's the connection, right? And then so anyway, the fans were chanting, "You're a liar." Hannifan said that Maclin should hold himself accountable for attacking Santana twice. Maclin said he could talk about his alcohol problems, his PTSD, but he puts a smile on his face and moves on. Fans were chanting, "Wrap it up." Maclin said that he thought Hannifan would be on his side. Maclin said he got Hannifan this job Hannifan said that he did get him the job, but he hated to see Maclin lose his. He said he tried to do everything to help Maclin, but people like Santana did too. He said that Maclin never takes accountability. He also talked about Maclin being the guy that keeps getting fined. So it's like, I don't know. I would tell TNA, like, you hire a Marine, like, you got to let him be a Marine. Marines are crazy. That's what they do. But Maclin paused for a while, and then all of a sudden he punched Hannifan in the stomach, turning babyface. Just kidding. Security and Santana ran in, and Maclin escaped the ring not before he shoved Matthew Raywalt to the ground. And then it was a good segment. Unfortunately, I thought the fans were being a distraction. Jim Miller then joins Raywalt on commentary and said that Dario Ray pulled Hannifan because he, got attacked. So, and then they go to the main event. You got Matt and Jeff Hardy and the Righteous versus the System. Myers, Edwards, Cedric, and Bear Bronson. It was a good match, 12-minute match. I thought it was good. Like I said, I've seen this match a lot lately. They're doing this same match with different variations all the time. They do similar moves and similar match layout, and like they started off slow. They do a big thing in the middle of the match where, like, the climax, where they're doing, everybody hits their big moves, and then all of a sudden people get laid out, the baby faces pose, and then heels come back in, and then they go at it for a little bit longer. And then it happened for 12 minutes until the System, he got heat on Vincent. Vincent finally made the tag to Matt Hardy, who cleaned house, and then all 8 wrestlers exchanged moves again. Vincent pushed Matt out of the way, but he caught a Boston knee party from Eddie, so Vincent sacrificed himself, who got the pin. After the match, System continued the attack until Moose came in for the save, but he eventually got overwhelmed. Alicia Edwards ran in and protected Moose from the System as the show closed and went off the air. I thought it was a solid edition of Impact. I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, so I'm curious at how it's going to do in the ratings. But we'll check. Let's see. Let's get to the chat, and then we're going to close it out. Let's see. Here we go. Talk about Paramount murdering AEW and pissing in its eyes. Oh, yeah. No, JD and I will talk about that. No, that's JD's wheelhouse. But yeah, Paramount is buying WBD. That's a big story. I was going to talk about it tonight, but I was like, I don't have the time. And that's really like a JD thing. And JD has to answer to that because he guaranteed that Netflix would get it, that Paramount would not get it. But no, it's Paramount. Paramount bought it. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to have a major effect on AEW. So I wouldn't really see that being an issue. In fact, I think it's less of an issue now that Netflix doesn't have it, because I think Netflix was going to absorb HBO Max, and if they did that, then AEW wouldn't have been able to appear on the app. So because of the no compete. So let's see. I don't think he cashed it in, but TNA did announce later. Oh yeah. We talked about that. Okay, she's gonna turn back heel and help the System. Yeah, of course. And loose skin and old balls. Yeah. Nicholas Riley says Nick Nemeth and his Collier Shot Gauntlet trophies. Talking to AWN. Yeah, those girls did that promo in heels. Yeah, like they were wearing 6-inch heels. It was crazy. Let's see. Remember when the Nashville crowd told Frankie to wrap it up on No Surrender pre-show, and he said your dad should have wrapped it up? Yeah, that was pretty good. Hannifan folded like an origami from that shot. Yeah, Maclin got him good. You punch your friends the hardest for sure. Yeah, the match always happens with the Hardys. And what happened to the relationship with TNA just ended after Regia? Who are you talking about? I don't know what that means, but it is after midnight, folks. I do have to get out of here. I greatly appreciate you being on the show, or being a part of the show, every Thursday night. Most Thursday nights, not last Thursday, but most Thursday nights. JD and I will be back on Sunday. We'll have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the Paramount deal. We'll talk about AJ Styles, and then whatever else pops up in the news. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it for me this time. And until next time, mahalo.